day, so you don't really see them, but Captain Jack's Dead Bug Juice, if that doesn't take them down, then you switch over to 7, which is a much heavier insecticide.
Perfect. Well, this is from Roger. How do I get rid of rust disease on a flowering crabapple tree?
Okay, should have started spraying right after the petal drop this spring. I suggest an all-purpose fruit tree spray, and what you want to do is take that, you spray 2 times, 10 days apart. Then for your 3rd and 4th sprays, you'll use a copper fungicide, and then for the 5th and 6th sprays, you go back to the all-purpose fruit tree spray. This is something you've got to get out ahead of. Spraying now might slow it down, but it's not going to get rid of it.
The sooner the better there, it sounds like.
Definitely.
This is from Connie. After the grapes are ripe and picked, is it possible to cut the grape plant down to the stumps and move the stumps to a different spot?
Not right now. We're going to wait and do that in the spring as part of your normal pruning anyway. What you'll do is next spring, have your new area ready. You will reduce that grape down to just about 10 inches either side of the main trunk that you've established, I hope. And then you lift it out of the ground, get it back in the ground at the new arbor. Of course, use your root stimulator at that time, mulch it to keep weeds and grass away from it, and then you're back to square one, but you've already got a decent root system, so it should go ahead and progress very well.
Very nice. Well, this is from Robert. He says, I have 2 forsythia bushes that I need to relocate. When and how is the best way to do this?
Okay, there again, that's a spring move. You want to go ahead. In the spring, you're going to reduce those puppies down to about, if they're well established, I'd take them down to about a foot above the ground. Again, lift them, get them back in the ground, amend the soil, use your mulch, use your root stimulator. You have to severely prune the plant to take the pressure off that root system that you're definitely, not destroying, but you're damaging it when you move them. So you've got to take the pressure off the roots by reducing the top.
Vicky says, I have some intermediate tomatoes, and last week they were beautiful. This week the leaves are dying. Can I do something to save them?
Well, the important thing is to make sure that you're not overwatering. You didn't mention whether they were in a container or in the ground. We've actually had people with overwatering problems in the ground this year because of all the rain. The thing we're going to hope that this is not fusarium or verticillium wilt, because that has come up out of the soil and it's literally clogged the stem, just like liming your pipes at home. The plant looks great one day and it literally collapses the next. If that is the problem, and whether it is or not, I would seriously suggest moving those tomatoes to another growing area next year, just in case you do have a soil-borne disease that you have to worry about.
Alrighty, perfect. Thanks, Craig. Well, we're not done with you yet, but if you haven't got on the WQ80 Facebook page just yet, go ahead and do that. We're going to answer more of your questions coming up.
QC at 11. It is Wednesday, and that means our plant and garden expert, Craig Hignight, back in the studio with us. More of your questions. Let's go back to Linda asking, do all blackberries have tiny little worms in them?
They aren't supposed to. The problem being that, you know how blackberries put together? It's hundreds of little locules packed together. You can use that Captain Jack's dead bug brew. You could drink that stuff right out of the bottle. It wouldn't hurt you. Well, it's not going to be fun, I'll tell you that.
I'm not tasting
But, it works just on insects. And it is a biological. And make sure you do rinse the berries well if you do use an insecticide on them.
Oof. All right, well, there you have that. Well, Willow says hi, by the way, but Lisa is asking, how do I get rid of chipmunks?
Okay, chipmunks, we're gonna take a broad approach first. We're gonna use repellents to begin with. And if the secret of using a repellent, especially the sprays, you apply it 4 days in a row when you first put it down. Secondly, we could step up to a live trap and move them someplace else. I don't know if I just broke the law by telling you that. Sometimes you aren't allowed to move wild animals around. The last thing, rat traps and peanut butter. It's not pretty, but it works just as well on chipmunks as it does rats.
Very good. All right. This is from Curdy. When can I cut the blooms from my hostas?
Oh, they can be taken out anytime. I know a lot of people that never let their hostas bloom. As soon as they see those flower spikes coming up, they're out there nipping them off. As soon as the flowers have completely faded, do go ahead and remove those spent flower stems so that they put the new energy into next year's growth and not seed production.
All right, this is from Jim. My Roma tomatoes are turning red before they get big enough. Can I do anything?
Well, watch your watering. First of all, tomatoes like nice, even watering. I hope you built the soil up with some compost this spring before you planted. Do not get carried away with fertilizer. You can over-fertilize and it will actually reduce your total production. Maybe next year, instead of Romas, you should step up to a San Marzano. It's kind of a super Roma. It's a much larger fruit, still a plum, paste tomato, excellent flavor.
Sharon is wondering, when are we done with Japanese beetles?
We are on the cusp right now. We've been into this for about 4 to 5 weeks, and I'm getting less and less calls and people talking about Japanese beetles. I figure in about another week, they should be gone for the year.
All righty, well, this is from Terry. How do I get a start from a hydrangea, and when's the best time to do this?
Well, hydrangeas, well, the one thing you might try on a hydrangea, I don't know how easy they are to root. But you could take a stem on the hydrangea, bend it over gently, and dig a little divot in the ground, put the stem in that hole, pin it down. You want to make sure you've got a leaf node right there where there were 2 leaves, then put a brick on top of it. This will usually encourage that stem to go ahead and make new roots. It's going to take a full year, but if you really want it, it's worth it.
All righty, well, Craig, thank you so much for joining us today,
Thanks,
and we'll have you back here next week. And be sure to join our Facebook Live with Craig each and every Wednesday. There you can submit your questions and be a part of the conversation. GMQC at 11 returns in just a few moments. But first, here's a look at our Bridgepoint camera in downtown Moline. I'm seeing some blue skies out there right now, but we are tracking some possible severe weather for later tonight. We'll be right back.